Hello, loves. This is lawyer Alexandria Serra, and it's Lawyer Talk Thursday, a very special edition because I'm here with the boys from Legalize EP and El Paso Norml, and we're going to spend the next 2 hours talking about, you guessed it, cannabis and all the laws, the psychological impact, the community, and what we're doing to help legalize marijuana here in Texas. So stay tuned and ask your questions.
What's up, you guys? My name is Michael Castro. I'm from Legalize El Paso. A lot of you guys probably follow me on Legalize El Paso, so thank you for the support. We're going to be here for a while answering your questions, so thank you guys.
How's it going, guys? My name is Colt DeMorris, and I'm the Executive Director of El Paso Norml. And I've been fighting since 2014 to end prohibition where it started, keep people out of jail, get patients safe access, and I won't stop until we change these laws.
Amen, brother.
All right, what's up, you guys? So we got a question, and it's what's the difference between CBD and THC? To be honest with you, it's cannabis. It comes from the same plant, comes from the same seed. The only difference is that one does not contain THC. Not to say that it doesn't contain THC, but it contains a concentration of 0.3%. Now, cannabis in general is always going to contain CBD, right? There's always different ratios, but the way the plant has grown, it's evolved, genetics have evolved. CBD is its own thing and THC is its own thing. So, but it's still cannabis.
I wonder if the question is more of what is the difference between the actual cannabinoid and not the type of flower.
You mean just CBD and THC? You mean?
Yeah.
So CBD and
rather than it being like CBD flower and a high THC flower, what's the difference between the two cannabinoids?
So THC, for instance, is going to be a psychoactive, meaning it's going to get you high, right? It's going to make you feel what people call high, or medicated is a better word.
I like that better.
I like that.
I like that a lot better.
It's better. But CBD doesn't. CBD is more. It affects your endocannabinoid system. Not to say that THC doesn't do that as well. But CBD is its own. CBD works inside your body. It works internally in your body to activate certain receptors in your body that work through your entire body. So basically, if your body's out of balance, right, cannabis in general, and CBD is really good for this, helps bring your body back into homeostasis, right? When people are sick and they're seeking medical, they're seeking a medical treatment, something different, and they start to use cannabis, it's your endocannabinoid system that exists in every single one of us here that is activated when you consume cannabis. So the big difference is CBD doesn't get you high and THC does, gets you medicated.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, their therapeutic properties.
Right.
Sure. Yeah. For sure. And then legally, we're talking about a concentration of 0.3% THC or less, right? So it's hemp if it's 0.3 or less than 0.3, and it is marijuana, illegal marijuana under the Controlled Substances Act if it's more than that, okay? And we'll address all those crazy legal issues as to why DPS can't test correctly, why city council should be using the cite and release program, and other issues as far as that differentiation goes. But basically, it's common hemp versus illegal marijuana on the legal side. So a lot of you have heard about this cite and release program, the mythical creature that exists somewhere in El Paso. Well, let's talk about it. First, the city council has passed the resolution, so cite and release should be in place already. But the DA and El Paso PD are dragging their feet about implementation. Now that's the difference, right? Until these officers have their marching orders, they are still arresting people, no criminal history, low-level offenders, small amounts of marijuana. And that's not what City Council intended by their resolution. Now, there's a portion in the criminal code in Texas that allows for cite and release programs. It's already legal to have cite and release. It's 1406 of the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure. So all we've got to do is implement it. Now, cite and release programs are essentially you get caught with less than 4 ounces of marijuana, either a B or an A misdemeanor, and you're handed a citation. Now, that doesn't mean you don't have to do anything. That doesn't mean you don't have to go to court, but they're going to send you a setting in the mail and you're going to go to court. You don't have to go through the arresting process. The officer doesn't have to take you to the station, and you're not exposed to those psychological effects, especially if you're a young person, of being arrested, booked, taken to jail. So that's what the cite and release program is all about. If you have a pending drug case, whether it's cannabis or anything else, there's essentially 4 ways to fight a drug case, especially when you're pulled over by the police. So the first is always the stop. Did they have reasonable suspicion to stop you in the first place? The second is the search. Did they have probable cause to search you? Now, a lot of people ask, well, you know, they're going to search me anyway. They smell marijuana. That's probable cause. Never, ever consent, okay? Even if there is a legal search, right? If they have probable cause because of the smell of burnt marijuana, do not consent, okay? Ever, 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 all right? Because that really hampers us in what we can fight. If you don't consent to search, it's not obstruction. I don't care what officers are telling you, or they're saying it'll be interfering with public duties or obstruction charges. That's not true. That's an absolute lie. So don't fall for that. The third way is links. So this comes up when, for example, there's multiple people in the car, they find it in the glove box, the console, on the floor, in a pocket, driver's side door, doesn't matter. The state has to link you to that marijuana, so never ever take responsibility for it, especially if there's multiple people in the car. Doesn't matter. It's the safest bet not to admit it's yours, even if it is. And the final way is the science, especially with cannabis. Now, DPS, first of all, the field tests are crap. Okay, they have false positives all the time for multiple different kinds of substances, so those are crap. But also, DPS still can't test concentration of THC. So like I talked about earlier, right? Hemp or illegal marijuana, which is it? It depends on the concentration of THC, and DPS can't tell us. So that's the fourth way to fight a drug charge.
DPS now has the ability to test as of March 2020, maybe early April. They're testing it through funds that are given to them at the University of Houston, but they're only testing felony amounts. They weren't giving funding to test misdemeanor amounts. And then they're trying to develop the test to test concentrates right now, and they hope to have it later on this year.
Well, El Paso DPS ain't testing it.
Well, I mean, they can send it out now.
Yeah, they
felony
can send
amounts.
it,
Felony amounts. Misdemeanor amounts, they're not even testing. The labs aren't even testing because they don't have the funding. They didn't get the funding to do it. There was a DPS memo. I'll send it to you. But there was a memo that came out of the DPS explaining how it was going to go down.
Absolutely.
Advice is to shut the fuck up. Like, you can't. Any information you get, like they say, is going to be used against you. You're going to incriminate yourself. Just shut up and hire an attorney and let the attorney beat it for you. Until we can get the laws changed, I mean, that's the best you can do. I mean, there's no better, I don't know if there's any better answer than that. Just shut up. Don't say nothing. Don't try saying it's CBD. Just answer the questions about the stop and don't answer any more questions.
Because that's an admission, right?
Yes.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's still an admission. I mean, they can't tell by looking at it. I don't care about their experience. I don't care about nothing. It might be stinky. It might be loud. It might have a lot of THC in it. But on the street, they cannot tell that it's not over the legal limit, right? You know? So really, they shouldn't be arresting for it. But if they do, shut up.
Right, because if you say, oh man, it's CBD, right? Well, you've kind of pseudo-admitted you know what it is and it's yours, right?
Yeah.
I mean, technically, if I was a DA, that would be what I would argue. So, but we'll get back to my more legal advice. Your turn.
So when you first get pulled over, I think the biggest one is if your car doesn't smell like cannabis. That's the biggest one. If it doesn't smell, although you might have it in the car, find out what you're getting pulled over for. You ask, why am I being pulled over? Right? He has to give you a reason. Once he gives you the reason, go ahead, give your ID, and always be polite, right? Never be disrespectful to the cops. Be polite. Be just try to be responsible. Try to be respectful. But when he starts asking questions, you know, asking if you can search your vehicle, if there's no real reason to, shut up, right? Don't answer any questions. Literally just deal with the traffic stop. For whatever the reason may be, deal with the traffic stop. Now, if your car does smell like cannabis, again, if he tells you he's going to search your car, say, I don't consent. If he pulls you out of the car, come out of the car respectfully, because he does have consent to search your vehicle if it smells in the state of Texas. But again, you do not consent and you never talk, right? If he's going to ask you, where'd you get it from? Where are you coming from, right? He's going to ask you a bunch of questions. Just don't answer. Be quiet. what is this? Is it cannabis? You know, just don't answer any questions. Shut up. Just don't say anything. If he arrests you, when he takes you to jail, if he asks you questions, shut up, right? If you're in jail and they're asking you questions, shut up. Like, just shut up. Don't talk. That's it. Be quiet. And like, be quiet. Just be quiet, guys. That's it.
I echo that, right? Okay, so absolutely everything that they say, but yes, limit the interactions to the traffic stop. Sir, you know, do you know why you pulled over? No, sir, why am I pulled over? You were speeding. Oh man, it smells like weed in here. When was the last time you smoked? Officer, am I detained? Are you issuing me a ticket? Well, I asked you a question. Have you been smoking in here? Blah, blah, blah. I can search your vehicle. Shut up. Do not answer any questions. I'm going to answer a question based on the traffic stop. Fine. But you can always be cooperative. Cooperative and waiving your rights are two different things. You never have to consent to a search. You never have to answer a question about a criminal offense ever. And you can always invoke your Fifth Amendment. You can say, officer, my lawyer told me that I'm not answering any other questions except for what about traffic stop? And that's it. Period. Shut the hell up about everything. And never take ownership, okay? If you have a backpack in the back seat and there's a joint in it, make them prove it's yours.
Right.
Do not say it's your backpack. Do not try to bail out anybody else who's in the car, because ultimately this is your life.
Everybody shut up.
Everybody shut up. You think that they'll say, hey man, you know, if you cooperate, if you let us know what's up, like whose is this, it's gonna be fine, right? And I think we talked about this earlier. It might be the difference of whether you're handcuffed in the front or behind, but they're gonna arrest you anyway.
Okay, as a card holder myself, the biggest advice I can give is don't get pulled over. Follow all your traffic laws, don't speed, use your turn signal, check your lights. That's the biggest thing. Because our current DA will prosecute you regardless if you're a patient or not. In July, we have a runoff election for district attorney. James Montoya, who is currently in the district attorney's office, and Yvonne Rosales. And if somebody like Yvonne Rosales gets elected, actually both of them have already told me if you are a card holder from another state, they will not prosecute. Both of them have told me that. But depending on who gets into the district attorney office will determine how these cases will be handled in the near future. I know Yvonne Rosales doesn't believe that you can't prosecute if you can't test it. So that's something big to look into, is who these two candidates are.
All right, so for that question, how to get into the CBD business, it's really simple. Obviously, you have to obtain an LLC, some sort of business license, but you want to make sure that you're getting it from a reliable source, right? So you look into where, do research, right? That's the biggest one. People always ask me, well, how do I get into this? How do I get into that? Well, do some research. Really, look into it. Answer your own questions, right? Go on the internet, go look up these websites. But it's real simple. Go call the retailer you're looking for if you're going to purchase out-of-state CBD, because it's really accessible right now. But you want to make sure you're getting a good product. Right now, though, when hemp places start to open up, hemp farms start to open up in El Paso and around Texas, CBD is going to be very accessible to where you can actually know where exactly you're getting your CBD from, the exact source, the exact literally location and everything. So definitely just do some research. Lab results. Yeah, lab results. Lab results are really important. CBD companies will do third-party lab testing on all CBD products. If there's no third-party lab testing, I wouldn't consume that product or anything like that. So you want to make sure you're getting it from legit retailers that have the licensing and the test results to prove that.